Hello, and welcome to a short presentation about the NextLabs Enforcer for Microsoft Outlook. The NextLabs Outlook Enforcer is an endpoint entitlement manager. It is designed to control the sending and access to email using the Microsoft Outlook client. For this demonstration, we have a set of business requirements that we want to meet using NextLabs ABAC, or Attribute-Based Access Control policies. These requirements are based on different user, data, and location attributes. Managers are authorized access to all messages. Other employees are only authorized access to messages for projects to which they are assigned and components that they work on. The first demonstration will show how messages are only sent to authorized recipients. The second demonstration will show how access to messages already in a user's inbox may be restricted. This slide shows the various subject and resource attributes that will be used for the demonstration, along with a list of objects that will be used. It includes a table showing what attributes each user has, how the locations are defined, which projects are production versus development, and finally, the files that will be used along with the attributes of each. For the first demo, we're going to show how the Outlook Enforcer can restrict sending emails. The first policy here, 120.0, will deny sending all messages with a controlled attachment. Organizing policies like this is a NextLabs best practice and is referred to as using a top-level deny policy. The sub-policies of this will allow messages to managers and project team members to be sent. After checking the project team for authorization, sub-policy 120.2.1 is another deny policy that will stop delivery of messages with an attachment that includes a component file so that it can be checked and only sent to authorized engineers. Using nested hierarchical policies allows NextLab to support the complex business requirements an organization may have. We also show here another Outlook Enforcer policy that is used to classify the messages themselves. The message classification can be another attribute used to make policy decisions, as we will see in the second demo. Now let's see these policies in action. So here we see we've logged in from the office as Anne, and she's going to send some messages. You remember Anne is a manager, so she has access to all the project data. So first we're going to send a message to Bob and Chris with a Jupyter attachment. And so we're going to attach a Jupyter file here. You remember Bob and Chris are both assigned to the Jupyter project. So when we hit send, we'll classify the message. So, okay, and the message is sent. And so if we go down here and look at Bob, we see that Bob receives the message and that Chris receives the message as well. So now we're going to go back up to Anne, and we're going to send another message to Bob and Chris. And this is going to be a next-gen attachment. Now, if you remember, Bob is assigned to next-gen, but Chris is not. So when we hit send and we classify the message, the Outlook Enforcer comes back and says that there's a problem with the message, that Chris is not authorized to receive next-gen messages, and so this message can't be sent. So if we go back, and we're going to fix this by taking Chris off the to line, we're going to hit send. And now that we've fixed the message, it's sent. And we see that Bob gets the message. We've checked and determined that we can control delivery of messages based on a single attribute, the project. Now we're going to test the component attribute as well. And so we're back here to Anne, and we're going to send another message just to Bob. And this is going to be a Jupyter wheel. And so we'll attach a file that's marked Jupyter Wheel, and we hit send, and we'll mark that as a Jupyter message. And we see Bob gets that. If we go back here, and now we're going to send one to Bob that's a Jupyter spoke. And we're going to attach a file that's marked that way, Jupyter spoke. And we hit send, and we classify it as the Jupyter message. And we see here that Bob is not authorized because he doesn't work on spokes. And so he's not authorized to receive a Jupyter spoke. But if we say, okay, let's send this to Chris instead, he's assigned to Jupyter and works on spokes. So we hit send and the message goes. We go down here to Chris and we see that Chris got that message. So in the first demo, we saw how Outlook Enforcer could restrict sending messages to only authorized recipients. In this demo, we're going to look and see how it can restrict access to messages that have already been delivered. The first set of policies, 122, control access to messages based on the classification of the message. Remember that managers are authorized access to all the messages, but other employees are only authorized access to those related to projects they're assigned to. The second set of policies, 123, control access based on the user's location. Specifically, users are not authorized access to messages for development projects when they are at the factory. Both set of policies combine to determine the user's effective permissions to a message. Now we will take a look at these policies in action. So you can see here, we've logged in the factory as Bob, and you can see here, he's got some of these messages that we were working at in the first demo, but he also has this old message from Anne that is part of the Intrepid project. If you recall, Bob is no longer assigned to the Intrepid project, so he got this message earlier when he was, but if he goes back and tries to open that message now, you can see he is no longer authorized access to that message because he's no longer assigned to the Intrepid project. So even though he already has the message in his inbox, he can't access it. So we're in here as Bob. And if you also recall, one of the rules was you couldn't access development projects from the factory. And so he received this next-gen email from Anne. But since he's in the factory, if he goes to try to access this email, he again gets denied because even though he's assigned to the next-gen project, he's not authorized to access it from the factory. But if we log out of Anne from the office and log in to the office as Bob, and the next-gen message, since he's now in the factory, he can open that message because he's authorized to do so from this location. This concludes the presentation of the NextLabs Enforcer for Microsoft Outlook and how it can restrict both sending messages and access to previously delivered email. Please go to www.nextlabs.com for more information about this and other wonderful products from NextLabs.